He remembers the beginning like a perfect dream. She wasn't just a woman, she was an experience. Her gaze made him feel like the most important man in the world. Her laughter was a melody that dissolved his anxieties. She listened with an intensity that suggested she was memorizing his soul. He had found his refuge, his confidant, the one who finally saw the real him. What he failed to see was that he wasn't looking at a person, but into a mirror. Every smile was a reflection of his own hopes. Every compliment was a carefully placed brick in the facade of a perfect relationship. Every, "I love you," was calculated not for connection, but for control. Her charm was a siren's song, enchanting at first, then disorienting, and finally, shipwrecking. Beneath the warmth lived a mind that craved control, not companionship. A heart that fed on admiration, not intimacy. A spirit that feared being seen as flawed more than it feared being alone. This is the silent tragedy of being married to a narcissistic wife. It is not merely a difficult marriage, it is a systematic dismantling of a man's inner world. You don't just lose arguments, you lose your sense of self, your perception of reality, and your very identity. This is a journey into the emotional labyrinth of such a union. Here are 10 ways a narcissistic wife treats her husband, and the invisible scars each one leaves behind. 1. The gaslight effect, making him an alien in his own mind. It starts not with a bang, but with a whisper of doubt. "You're remembering it wrong," she says with unnerving calm. "I never said that." He knows she did. The memory is vivid. Yet her certainty is so absolute, so unshakable, that the bedrock of his own perception begins to crack. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I'm going crazy. This is gaslighting, the slow, psychological poisoning of a man's trust in his own reality. She will deny conversations, reinterpret events to suit her narrative, and twist his words into weapons he never intended. She creates a fog of confusion because in that fog, she becomes his only compass. He becomes dependent on her version of the truth to navigate his own life. The psychological toll is catastrophic. He starts second-guessing every memory, every feeling, every instinct. He apologizes for offenses he didn't commit, just to restore a fleeting peace. He stops voicing concerns because the effort to be heard only leaves him feeling more isolated and insane. Her victory is sealed not when he agrees with her, but when he no longer trusts himself. 2. Affection as a weapon, the economy of love. In the beginning, her affection was a boundless, generous sun. Now, it has become a currency, and she is the sole banker. A cold shoulder replaces a warm embrace. A clipped "fine" is the answer to a concerned "what's wrong?" Physical intimacy is granted as a reward for compliance and withdrawn as punishment for independence. He finds himself in a constant state of emotional hunger, chasing the high of her approval, desperate to earn back the love that was once given freely. This is the emotional leash. She has identified his need for connection as her primary source of power. His attempts to fix things, flowers, gifts, pleading, only reinforce her control. She doles out just enough affection to keep him hooked, but never enough to make him secure. It's a cruel addiction cycle, where the memory of the high makes the lows feel like a personal failure. He is not yearning for a partner, he is craving a fix from his dealer. 3. The public saint, private executioner. To the outside world, she is the epitome of a devoted wife. She is his most vocal cheerleader on social media, praising his hard work to her friends, and presenting a united, happy front to family. She builds a fortress of admiration around herself, crafted from his own good name. Behind closed doors, the fortress becomes a prison. The woman who praised him publicly now dissects him with surgical precision. She mocks his ambitions, scorns his ideas, and uses sarcasm to belittle his masculinity. She expertly cultivates a network of allies, his own friends and family, who see only her radiant facade. This creates a profound and devastating isolation. If he dares to speak out, he is met with disbelief. But she's so wonderful. You're lucky to have her. He is trapped in a narrative where his abuser is also his chief character witness. The walls of his prison are made of everyone else's perception, and his screams are silenced by her impeccable reputation. 4. The professional victim, inverting accountability. Confronting her is like trying to grasp smoke. The moment he gathers the courage to address a hurtful behavior, the roles instantly flip. Her eyes well with tears. Her voice trembles with wounded innocence. How can you be so cruel? After all I've sacrificed for this family. Suddenly, he is no longer the wounded party, he is the aggressor. His legitimate pain is transformed into a character flaw, his insensitivity. This is emotional inversion, a masterful technique to evade accountability. She weaponizes his empathy. If he says she's controlling, she claims he's aggressive. If he points out a lie, she laments his lack of trust. By casting herself as the perpetual victim, she garners sympathy and control simultaneously. The empathetic husband is left comforting the very person who caused his pain, each apology chipping away at his self-respect. 5. The guilt engine, control through invisible chains. She rarely needs to issue direct commands. A well-placed sigh, a look of profound disappointment, or a passive-aggressive comment is all it takes. I just thought we were a team, but I guess your friends are more important. It's fine, spend the money on yourself. We don't really need a vacation. These subtle reproaches install a conscience that answers not to his own morals, but to her whims. Guilt becomes the air he breathes. He feels wrong for wanting time with friends, for pursuing a hobby, for simply having an independent thought. This constant, low-grade guilt rewires his brain to prioritize her emotional state above his own well-being. The cruelest trick is that she frames this control as care, making him believe that his obedience is a measure of his love. 6. The relentless competitor, when partnership is a battle. Marriage is a duet, but she insists on making it a duel. Every aspect of life becomes a zero-sum game where for him to win, she must lose, and vice versa. His professional success is met with a deflating, well, everyone gets promoted eventually. A decision he makes is subtly undermined with, that's one way to do it, I suppose. Even in emotional disputes, she keeps score, ensuring she emerges as the morally superior or more wounded party. This constant, low-grade rivalry erodes any sense of true partnership. He can never relax or truly celebrate an achievement, as it is inherently a threat to her ego. Her goal is not to build a life with him, but to ensure she remains the dominant figure above him. She doesn't want a husband, she wants a subject. 7. The slow erosion of masculinity. This is not a loud, dramatic castration. It is a death by 1,000 cuts, delivered with a smile or a sigh of feigned concern. I just wish you were more of a leader, she laments, while systematically criticizing every decision he makes. It's okay, I'll handle it. You're clearly not up to it, she says, stripping him of his competence. She critiques his body, his career trajectory, his hobbies, the very pillars of his identity. Piece by piece, the man he was is chiseled away. His confidence, assertiveness, and sense of purpose are systematically dismantled. The man who remains is a hollowed-out version, tailored to her needs for control and superiority. The tragedy is that he often blames himself, believing if he could just be better, the woman he fell in love with would return. 8. The unassailable ego, rewriting history in real time. In any disagreement, the goal is not mutual understanding or a fair resolution. The goal is for her to be right. Always. Facts are malleable. History is editable. She possesses a breathtaking ability to reconstruct events, spinning a narrative where her actions were justified and his reactions were unreasonable. He can present concrete evidence, only to have it twisted into proof of his failings. Engaging in an argument is an exercise in futility that leaves him emotionally drained and psychologically scrambled. To preserve her fragile ego, she must never be at fault. Apologies are seen as admissions of inferiority. The relationship becomes a dictatorship of perception, where her truth is the only truth. 9. Weaponizing the family, turning love into leverage. If they have children, they become the ultimate pawns in her psychological war. She positions herself as the perfect, sacrificial mother, framing him as the distant or incompetent father. The kids always come to me because you're always so busy/angry/distant. She may share his private frustrations with the children or make unilateral decisions about parenting, alienating him from his own family. She extends this to his extended family, painting a picture for his parents or siblings of a man who is difficult, unloving, or unstable. This strategically isolates him, cutting him off from potential sources of support. He is trapped not only by her but by the distorted reality she has built with the very people whose love and respect he cherishes most. 10. The emotional vampire, feeding on his turmoil. Above all, a narcissistic wife thrives on narcissistic supply, the attention and emotional reactions she provokes in others. His pain is her sustenance, his anger, her drama, his joy, a reflection of her glory. She knows precisely which buttons to push to elicit a reaction. When he tries to detach and find peace, she will escalate, creating a crisis, instigating an argument, or offering a temporary, intoxicating dose of the bolter to pull him back in. He becomes trapped in a cycle of chaos and calm, addicted to the hope of permanence in the temporary. She does not love him, she consumes him. His emotional energy is the fuel for her fragile ego, and she will drain him until there is nothing left. Conclusion: the reclamation of a man. Surviving a marriage to a narcissistic wife is not about saving the relationship. It is about saving yourself. The journey back to wholeness begins with 3 crucial steps. Awareness, seeing the patterns for what they are, a systematic form of psychological control, not a series of unfortunate misunderstandings. Detachment, learning to emotionally disengage, to stop feeding the cycle by reacting. This is not about coldness, but about self-preservation. Reconstruction, rebuilding your identity, establishing non-negotiable boundaries, and reinvesting in your own physical, mental, and emotional well-being. The path forward is guided by a simple, Stoic principle: focus only on what is within your control. You cannot change her. You cannot make her see the truth. But you can control your response, your boundaries, and your decision to no longer seek validation from a source designed to manipulate you. Reclaiming yourself is the ultimate victory. It is a return to the man you were before the erosion began, not broken, but seasoned, not naive, but wise.